gentlemen, welcome to episode 37 of Downunder The Ring podcast. Say our names and we appear. There's a werewolf among us. I'm not sus. Are you sus? Phid, there was so many memes that I just said that none of them make any sense to anyone but me. But welcome. How are you? How was your week?
Oh, bro, crazy week. Crazy week. Crazy week work-wise, crazy week life-wise. But also, what an insane 7 days in pro wrestling as well. It feels like Triple H is just constantly cooking at the moment, and he's not letting up. Like, we had the post-WrestleMania lull, like we always sort of get, but it didn't drop to McMahon levels of lull.
I don't feel like we got. I feel, you know what I think it was? Is I think that we were so afraid of it happening again that we manifested our own destiny with it, like in a lot of ways. Like we were like, oh, wrestling's boring again. And it really wasn't. It was just because we're so used to wrestling being boring again that, you know, that was our immediate sort of thought process.
But then awesome. In the last few weeks, it's just been firing on all cylinders. And I'm not even just talking WWE's main roster, right? NXT's been firing on all cylinders. TNA's been interesting. I've been dipping my toes into AEW again. It hasn't gotten to that excitement level, but I've been keeping my eye on New Japan. It's been interesting. And saying that, if you haven't already, check out the interview we have with the new Never Openweight champion that is on everything at the moment. Henare gave us some of his time the other day, and it's a really interesting interview. He goes into bits and pieces, so you should check that out on everything.
Sadly, I couldn't be there for it, but it is a cracker of an interview. Very, very good. Well worth a listen if you haven't already. We have had a wild time.
How's your week been? You always ask me. Let me ask you. How's Warship been?
Not bad. Look, I've been training, okay? That's the thing. I've been training like a maniac. If you saw my video, which I'm sure you did, but if the people at home saw the interview or the video that I did this week, essentially detailing what I've been up to and how I've been and all that kind of stuff. I'm training really, really frequently. I'm feeling really good about it. I've got a new training partner, which is the first time I've had one since I was hurt. I haven't really had a consistent training person since then. I've had a couple here and there for a few weeks here and there, but nothing really solid and set in stone. And for me, I work a lot better when I've got someone there, because a good example of that is today we did back, and during our back session, we did some hammer machine rows, and he went first, and we got to the last set, and we put I think it was about 120 on, so 3 plates per side. And we're like, all right, we'll just do as much as you can. We'll take some off, do some more, take some off, do some more. And I counted, and he did 5 at first, took some off, did 9, took some off, and did 12. So when it was my turn, I did 6, I did 10, and I did 15. Because that's just me. And I'm like, this is why I hate going first. Well, because when I go first, I can't chase, but it's also why I hate going second, because when I go second, I have no choice. I have to beat you, no matter what we're doing.
You're a competitive dude that thrives on almost the peer pressure of the gym environment.
I think that I just kind of sit there, and in my brain, even if I don't mean to, there's a part of me that goes, wait a second. Nah. No, you can't do more. That's stupid. It's not even it's not egotistical. There's nothing to it that's negative at all. It's just purely me going, no, that's not how the world works, because I am the big, strong boy. And that's all I've ever really been when it comes to stuff. Also, excuse me, the weather change here in Perth has given me a lovely nasally tone to my voice. So,
well, look, I've been coughing for our last 2 episodes on and off. You'll see me hit the tone over here, and that's mainly because I'm coughing off air. I got really sick when I was in New Zealand a few weeks ago. So, and I'm just getting over it now, which is good. But going back to your video, I recommend everyone check it out. It's giving a really interesting insight into where Shippy is in his journey at the moment. And you even go into a few plans of where you want to go. So, yeah, go check it out. It's on YouTube. There's some shorts and stuff across everything else. But, yeah, go check out the YouTube video.
It's good. I enjoyed it. From here, the focus is really going to be on me really pushing the envelope because, like I work best under pressure. And there's a few things going around in Perth wrestling right now that are a little bit motivating. So I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes and ears to that whole scene at the moment. Stuff is happening on this recording. We've got some ghosts in the machine here. We've got the Wyatt 6 coming in, I think. Stuff just keeps changing. And there we go. I think we're back to where we need to be. But speaking of coming in, we're going to talk about the big one first, right? Surely.
Oh, absolutely. What a ending to SmackDown this week.
I feel like we called it.
Sorry. Well, yeah, we knew something was coming. Rumored been out there for a long time that Jacob Fatu has been signed. He was at WrestleMania backstage. He's been hanging around in the background for a wee while. But, bro, you can see why they did not want to put him on screen initially with Solo, because he, in, 5 minutes, has outshone everybody in the new bloodline, in my opinion.
Honestly, like it was immediate for me, and I knew it would be as well, knowing Jacob Fatu as a character the way that we do. He's just infinitely better than anyone else they currently have, like as far as from the Samoan, like from that whole bloodline sort of thing. Like at the moment, I love Tamatonga, I love Tangaloa.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome as a tag team, but this was like Umaga made flesh again. Like this was
100%
that level of psycho, and that's what we want to see. So I'm really keen.
I think that's is compared to the other guys, he comes in with that real explosiveness. Like he just came in here, that explosive energy, ready to destroy, and dude flew like a small man.
Yeah, absolutely. And like even if you look at the situation is who was in the ring when he jumped in the ring. He took out 3 of the biggest people in the company, like 3 of the biggest faces in the company. He withstood stuff as well. Like he hit super kick, withstood a Kevin Owens super kick, didn't even react to it, and then gave it back. And then like this is stuff that you don't see on a debut. Not for someone of his size, maybe if you got like a Big Show or a Braun Strowman, you might see like that real big guy murder everyone because big guy. But this was like a murderer. This is like a psychopath and a completely wild and uncontrollable, a werewolf, like
a werewolf.
And we thought initially, and this is where we got a bit of a corrective history, is we actually said that we thought Jacob Fatu would show up on the side of good as a babyface character. But this is a way better option. A way better option that leads us into so many good options from here too.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got my theories when it comes to the babyface side of things too, because currently we have 5 guys sitting on the new bloodline side of things. We've got Solo, we've got the Tongans, we've now got Jacob, and then you've got not Jimmy Uso, right?
When Jimmy comes back, yeah.
Well, if Jimmy comes back.
And if he comes back on that side too.
Yeah. But let's say 4, right? Yeah. I think I'm doing the math right there. Yep. Potentially Hukaleo if he ends up debuting as well, if we want to go 5v5.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, let's say we've got both the Usos, right? We've got Roman Reigns. We've got Roman.
There we are.
But the other one, I think it'll be, is Rocky.
Yeah, interesting.
I think Rocky will debut with Roman. I think they'll challenge for the head of the table again at Survivor Series in War Games. And I think Rocky flips.
Rock bottom.
Yep.
I was me all along. I was the turkey all along. Me.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen too.
And that's how we build to the WrestleMania match they wanted last year.
Yeah.
Well, this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I can also see that happening post-match because after the events of Raw this week, I think it is not quite a lock, but it's going to be hard to say Braun Breaker doesn't beat Sami Zayn.
Oh, yeah. I think Sammy's losing that belt.
And then if Sami loses that belt, the Bloodline Originals versus Bloodline New Bloodline, like I could see Sami being the next guy. So
absolutely. And then look, not a bad match at SummerSlam.
No.
For the Intercontinental title, we got Gunther versus Braun Breaker. What a match!
Oh yeah. But I feel like Gunther, that's going backwards, right? Like
for Gunther?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, because he came out this week and he was like, whoever wins, I don't care. Whoever's the better man out of you two will be the lesser man from me. Yeah. So I feel like Gunther may be the guy because Drew and Punk doesn't need the belt. That's next, I think, and I don't know if it's necessarily that belt either. I think Cody will lose the belt by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I could think even as close as SummerSlam. Survivor Series is more of a lock, I would say.
Yeah.
But definitely before we start that last push for the Rumble. I think he needs to be chasing by the Rumble.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, 100% agree.
Because that way you put in the whole, can he do it again? And then he doesn't, obviously. But there's that real moment of maybe he could.
And then we get Homelander.
Yes. Then he gets mad.
Yeah.
We want to see that for sure.
Hey, while we're talking about SmackDown, Jacob Fatu's debut wasn't the only big news coming out of that show.
No.
We also had Punk in Chicago, which is always a great way to start the show.
Yeah.
Which was interesting because we got a few different sort of story beats happening at the end of that promo. And then, of course, we had Punk leave. And
that was the end. Punk left, and he went home, and there was nothing else that happened. Actually,
no. But there was that interview that happened backstage by the roller door.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, the one with DIY and Grayson Waller and A-Town down, and that's all that happened too, right?
Yeah. So it was just building to some sort of tag team match or something. I'm not sure what they were really building to, but of course, the roller door opens. What a reveal, dude!
Oh yeah, and because you really get a chance to get in there and do the makeup really good, and it doesn't have to happen on the show. It doesn't have to be any real interaction. Obviously, they're like, "All right, bro, you ready? Yeah, sweet. I'll lay down. Okay,
yeah,
go." There's no problems with that. But what a reveal! And it was really, for me, the thing that really sold it was Drew's face because he's just standing like that, his hair's all hanging down, and he's just no words spoken. Yep. There's just a dead CM Punk below, and he picks him up, puts him on his shoulders, and as they're walking around him and they're following the cameras, you can see he's bleeding from the head, he's bleeding from the arm. They've gone ham with the fake blood on this one, ham. I don't know who's been in charge of that squeezy bottle this week, but my God, y'all are going to put the entire fake blood industry over the limit there. You're going to be over the tax threshold from here on out because they're making that bank now. Honestly, this is ridiculous.
But how good is it though, right? We're actually starting to see a bit of violence in our violent sport.
Yeah. Look, it's refreshing. If I'm honest with you, it is refreshing from a time where we weren't allowed to even mention anything like that. And obviously it's different to say your mate Mox because it's not just going out there every night and bleeding for no reason. Everything that's happened so far has been really impactful.
And look, I've gone out there and said it plenty of times, I'm not a deathmatch guy, but I like blood when it makes sense and when it improves the story. Yeah. And if you're wrestling and bleeding in every single match, you're taking away the power of that color.
Yeah, no, and then eventually there's no reason for it. And then we move into that post-Attitude Era slum where there's no blood because it just doesn't matter anymore. So I think this was really well done. Drew also took a bracelet off of Punk, which it was revealed today that that bracelet has the names of AJ Lee, has the name of the dog Larry. Is the dog's name Larry? Larry on there as well. And he's like, well, I want to take your family with me when I do it. I win Money in the Bank. What a moment that was. That was awesome.
Oh, bro, and did you see Twitter after that? They were like, you can go after Punk, you can go after AJ, but you do not go after Larry the dog.
I saw Drew post on Twitter a picture of Larry the dog's face, and it was just excellent.
And look, I think powerful move by doing this in Chicago, right? But still, everything that Drew is doing is justified.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is, I love what they're doing with Drew, because is he a heel? Yeah, sure. But he's that justified heel. Like, everything he is doing and everything he is saying, he has a reason and a meaning behind it. And
you want to be angry at him for it, but you can't be. Because he's kind of right. Like,
absolutely. You're like, yeah, fucking Punk fucked you over. Of course you're going to go after him. He took your title shot away from you. He took your literal title win away from you.
Like he's justified in everything that he does. And it's really interesting. And I think Punk's trying to portray himself as the hero, but if you look into it, dude's an asshole. Is he really the hero, or is he kind of the worst? So I'm all for it. I think that we're leading towards a situation where I think we're going to have a couple of matches here. I really like it. I think I sent it to you on the thing. I like maybe I didn't actually. I like the concept of them having a match that it ends in a schmoz this time. Like, this match they have ends in a pure schmoz. The next match is another really schmozzy deal. And then we get to a first blood match of Bad Blood. That's the idea. I think having Punk on one side of the poster, Drew on the other side of the poster, the big blood drop in the middle, that sells itself completely, even just on that visual alone. And then we have a first blood match where they beat the piss out of each other and they squash the feud. That's my thought.
Clip this for later on when the poster gets released in a couple of months' time.
That's just my thought on it. I think that would be really effective. And that's like a stamp of Paul Levesque era. First blood match. We're doing a first blood match, and now it feels like we're moving into that new era.
My biggest thing at the moment, one of the biggest things I love about this Paul Levesque era, is all these characters now have layers to them. They're complicated. There's different aspects. It's not cut and dry. It's not, I'm a goodie and I'm a baddie. You've got to think about these things about more like, you don't know where things are going to go 100%. Like, as people that dream book at times and theorize where a story is going, I love being in this position where I'm just like, here's what I think might happen, but I don't know. Whereas a year ago, legitimately, we were like, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and it
was
all
predictable. It really was. And we're in a world now where it's not predictable. And that is, like, we've been saying it for weeks now. Like, that's the most refreshing thing, is that we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, going into Mania this year, we had no idea. We did not know, and that was exciting. But then we're now at a point where going into B pay-per-views, like Clash at the Castle, we did not know. And usually the Clash at the Castle and all these international ones were relatively predictable, but Clash at the Castle has proven that, it can go in a direction we don't expect. Like, we got tag team champions we didn't expect, and Drew got screwed heavier than I think any of us expected him to get screwed.
Yeah, I think that we got to a point. I think we got to a point halfway through the weekend where we expected Drew to win. Like we had got to that point where we were like, okay, Drew's going to win. And that was really like the vibe of it. And then when he didn't, it was a shock. So I'm agreeing with you on that. I think that we're still a little bit of ways away from truly having that international things can actually happen feel. But I think we're closer than we've ever been. So, and obviously this is not something we've written down in our notes, but we did see the post come out today about Raw when Raw officially launches on Netflix, it will be not a PG show. So
yeah, they're not bound to the same restrictions. They're not bound to the same time. So they've also said, like, if they have to run over, they will run over.
Yeah. And when it comes to the attitude of it all as well. So I would expect to see them really push the envelope, because as we've seen lately with like the Liv Morgan stuff, with the Wyatt Six stuff, even with the Drew stuff, they're really starting to get those limits.
They're walking the line.
Yeah, they really
They're starting to walk the line. I will say this. I think the Liv Morgan stuff's finally starting to get super interesting.
Yeah. After the end of this week's Raw, I think it's very interesting. Because the more I see it, the more I'm like, Finn is the mastermind behind all of this. Like, that's how it feels. And with the inclusion of Priest, if he loses, he's out of the Judgment Day. There's a lot more layers now than there were, and I actually don't quite know how it's going to go, and that's a good feeling too. So yeah, I'm absolutely 1,000,000% in for all we're doing at the moment when it comes to that stuff. Speaking of stuff that's happening, I guess maybe would be now a cool time to segue. You may have noticed that over the last couple of posts that we've put out, we once again played with the logo. We once again
look. We play with the logo whenever something cool happens, and we're like, we want to celebrate this.
Yeah, like we did it with CM Punk's return. And we've done it again now with the Wyatt Six. You can go to the link in the description below. It leads to the fourth wall where we've got set up a winter drop at the moment. It includes things like beanies, hats, bum bags, a really cool hoodie, really cool like rock and roll guy shirt. My dad would wear the hell out of that shirt. A CM Punk baseball style shirt. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. It's all got our various brandings. In fact, it's weird because the only one I haven't actually put up yet is our actual logo merch anywhere on there. So that'll be up there as well, probably by the time this comes out. So check the link in the description below. Have a look at that. Get yourself some gear. I know you guys have been asking for it a lot. So
it's been something we've been sitting on for a while. We wanted to release our own merch. But we wanted to make sure whatever we put out there wasn't just our logo on a freaking T-shirt. Everybody does that. But look, you guys wanted it. We've got some merch out there. And I will say this, to give all the flowers to Shippy on this one. Shippy has gone full fashion designer on all this stuff. Like, there is some pretty cool stuff where I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. You've exceeded expectation on some of this merch.
Yeah, I really like the hoodie. It's got the hurt on one side and the heel on the other side of the arms. And there's a couple of really cool little things in there as well. So please go check it out if that's your vibe. And now let's get back to the podcast. So.
Okay, yeah.
You go on. I know you want to.
They said his name.
They did, and he appeared.
They said his name.
And he appeared.
And he. Bro. What I want to really talk about with this one is we have seen already where WWE has taken an NXT star and given them the star treatment, right? What I found interesting about this last week was the Battle Royale. At the start of the Battle Royale, when they had everybody walk out, because it was a traditional Battle Royale, which I am not a fan of.
Where everyone runs the ring first and then it starts.
But the person who brought out all the stars was Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah.
Which, big deal. Frankie Kazarian on WWE. Right? We haven't seen him in WWE for a very long time, and I think last time was on Heat or something, right?
Yeah. No, so it didn't go the way that you would think with Frankie Kazarian. So an absolute megastar talent, honestly. So I honestly feel like maybe that kind of felt like a bit of a misstep in a few ways there, because like Kaz deserves every flower as well.
Absolutely, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if Kaz was involved in how this went, because I think it was a very intentional situation where they're like, we're going to have a TNA guy start this entire Battle Royale, and we're going to sort of divert attention a bit, thinking, okay, this is the TNA guy.
Yeah.
Everyone else is going to be the main roster or NXT or whatever. But then they gave Joe Hendry an amazing moment.
Yeah.
Like, once he got in the ring, everybody pushed him out. Frankie Kazarian chucked him over the rope, which is really good. It continues on the TNA rivalry.
Follows their storyline, yeah.
Right. I think that's good. A lot of people were complaining that Joe wasn't given the treatment that he deserves, but I would argue what they gave him is more than I have seen them give a lot of NXT stars.
Yeah.
Which is they gave him an epic entrance, they gave him microphone time, and he got to, one, get himself over, got to talk, got to establish who he was, got to make himself look like a star by having that interaction with the crowd. And then not only did he have that moment in the ring where he was chucked out and he went backstage, but he got an online exclusive with Shawn Michaels, with Shawn Michaels putting him over.
Yeah.
Like that, probably, if you include the what happened on the show and what happened in the digital exclusive, 5 minutes tops.
Yeah.
Right. But dude, amazing.
Are you waiting for him? Like, that's the thing, is because now, and obviously part of that was that he came out and said, I can be anywhere. I can appear anywhere on any show from here. All you have to do is say my name. So you're already in the spot now where we've got like one of the biggest independent wrestling stars in the world, contracted to TNA, but still one of the big guys. And now he can appear
and he's still working indies.
Yeah. And now he can appear anywhere.
I believe currently he's on tour in the UK at the moment, and he's doing some stuff with ICW in Scotland before he comes back to the States. But he has teased a heat wave.
Yeah.
Which next weekend, I believe, heat wave's happening same weekend as Money in the Bank. So he could end up having something to do there. It could end up being a long storyline on NXT. So amazing. But the other thing I did notice was when I was watching Raw today was there were some Joe Hendry signs front and center on Raw.
Yeah, yeah. In amongst all the Hawk Tour ones, there was a whole bunch of Joe Hendry ones as well. And that's the thing. Dude is a megastar. Dude, you know, and I say megastar with intent because Run the LA Knight moment of the week, you could easily have those two in a tag team at some point. But it would be a waste of both of them because they're both kind of the same guy.
But also, they have history too.
Yes, Eli Drake. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have history too, where he's written. There's a song about him being the dummy or something. It's
So at the end of the day, there's so much that could happen for me. I'm really happy to see Joe Hendry finally get like a little bit of notice around the place because I spent hours watching all of the diss tracks and everything like that. Like, you know, all through the ICW ones. I'm Drew, Dubba Dee Dubba Die, you know.
I see. I've been following this dude since What Culture Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
And watching his career has been absolutely amazing. But watching him get it.
Yeah.
There's this moment in time, and I actually think it was actually the Drew moment.
Yeah.
Was all of a sudden he got it. And once he was on American television, he knew exactly who he was as a character. Yeah. And I think there's nothing more magical than watching a talent who is super talented. You know they're talented, but watching that switch go off, and go, he now knows exactly what he's doing. He knows himself. He knows this character.
Yeah,
amazing. And like, I think there's no doubt in my mind, Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace end up on WWE by the end of this year or next year, right?
Yeah. And look, the sky's the limit for Joe Hendry. The sky's the limit for Jordan Grace as well, but the sky is the limit for Joe Hendry. He's still young, has a good physique. The physique's getting better as well now that he's getting closer to TV time. It's all coming up Millhouse, and I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. But excited about Joe Hendry is one thing, but one other thing that we called is happening.
Look, let's be honest. You called this, and you called this months ago.
I did. But it's happening, and it's happening for sure. Is that exactly what we said happened? Is that Otis got in old mate Gable's face? Gable, by the way, not dead, not shot in the head, actually still alive. Could have been dead. They could have just rid him off forever. Yeah. Could have been the end of it. If he didn't sign his contract, I don't think he would have survived. If he didn't come back, I think he's dead. But he showed up. He's alive. And he's in the ring and he's doing his thing, and he actually advances in the Money in the Bank. He beat like the monsters. He beat both of the monsters, and
And I tweeted, I think, meat. Literally
big,
the moment that match started, I was like,
meat.
this is the meat match. And I didn't think he was going to have a chance. I genuinely thought they were going to use this match as an opportunity to further what's going on with the Wyatts in the match.
Yeah, and then lead to like, maybe
psychologically, because they addressed at the start of the show, is he psychologically okay to be able to go ahead and blah, 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 blah. And I sort of wanted Bronson to win.
Yeah, but I just, as much as I'd like to, I just don't think that. I think that the engine is cooking, but I think that he's got a bit of time before they push it to the next level. I can't wait for it to happen, but I think we're still a little bit away from that final sort of push for Big Broddy, which I love the dude, good friend of the podcast. But at the same time, I think that they are taking their time to get him where he needs to be. Not him at all, because he's super, stupid talented. But Gable wins, and then all the lights go out. And then we see Nikki Cross, who I still don't know if we're talking about Abigail the Witch or Sister Abigail at this point.
What do we call her? But look, I love the questions.
Yeah, I do too. We see Nikki Cross appear in the smoke. Pretty cool angle on it. I didn't quite like the getting up in the ring. I would have liked it more if the smoke was still there and then all of a sudden Nikki Cross was there.
Yeah.
But it does humanize a little bit, so we're not quite getting the supernatural out of it. So I'm kind of okay with it at the same time. Essentially, Chad shits his pants and leaves. And then we're kind of mixing two of our points together here because we were going to talk about this, but you can't talk about one without the other. So Nikki Cross has a box. She gives the box to Michael Cole. We'll leave that box there as well. Michael Cole, by the way, is doing commentary solo. Because Pat McAfee presumably is dead as well, but still.
I believe they addressed it more as he was too scared to come in.
Yeah. So because obviously what happened on Pat McAfee's show, and then he's scared, but he's still tweeting, so he's alive. Because he would have stayed off of all that if that's what they wanted to push. But essentially, Chad piss bolts. He leaves, gets backstage. He's like, I know who will help me. My friends. Goes to Alpha Academy. Otis is like, bro, you're not dead. Sick, but still, we ain't fucking with you no more.
Told you last week. It's over.
Go away. So then he turns around. And who does he find? Creeds. So we're gonna get Team Angle. Team Gable is a thing, and this is the catalyst that I think everybody in this group needs to move up. Because I think that if the Bron Breakker does not beat Sami Zayn, if it is a schmoz, in fact, it could end in a Team Gable schmoz.
Yeah.
If that happens, it doesn't hurt Bron at all. Doesn't hurt Bron Breakker at all. And then he can go off and do whatever, continue, go to Ricochet's house and kill him. And let's not do it on TV. But, that could happen. And then Gable will challenge for the belt again, and the Creeds will help him win the belt. Right now, we've just seen a title change with the Judgment Day becoming the tag team champions. I can see them losing those to the Creeds as well.
Yep.
So I think all of the things are slotting into place pretty much exactly how we've been saying this whole time.
Yeah. And look, I'm loving this because we're going to finally see Chad Gable as a serious, actual threat in the WWE, which he has always been, but under that character was, it was a comedy character. Not to say he was bad at doing it. It was brilliant. He's very much the same as Angle, who can be taken as an absolute freaking threat while being humorous and hilarious at the same time. So I'm personally stoked to see that we're going to actually get a serious Chad Gable, and I'm more interested to see where the old Alpha Academy ends up.
Yeah, I am too, because, right now, what do we get? Do we get Akira Tozawa become Akira Tuckzawa, and we bring back Heavy Machinery, except Akira Tozawa is Tucker now? But what do we do? It's interesting. I would like to see Otis break out a little bit more because he was getting over as hell, but even in a week's time, I feel like we've had a little bit of a cool down, unfortunately, on Otis as a character. Interested to see where it all goes, though. Very, very compelling television. And speaking of compelling television, let me get this red circle and just turn it this way. Because this promo, this whole thing we just spoke about with Nikki Cross, it led to one of, if not the most powerful piece of wrestling footage that I have seen in a decade. Like,
bro,
everything about this was perfect. Like,
and it was something that I wasn't 100% sure if they were going to pull the trigger on this and go in this direction.
But he asked the questions that we have been asking. Because for those who didn't see it, Uncle Howdy essentially interviewed Bo Dallas and was like, you know, how do you feel? How do you feel since your brother died? How do you feel about the loss?
He was essentially playing psychologist.
He needed a notebook, and Bo Dallas needed to be laying on a couch, and then you're it.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was just powerful. And then he come out with, you know, don't you think you're tarnishing? Don't you think you're exploiting your brother's legacy? And that's what questions that have been asked everywhere, you know, because that's what they say. They say, oh, Bo Dallas just wants to get the same success his brother did, and that's why he's doing the thing with, you know, like it's what's been said.
Bro, it was so powerful. I was actually mid-work when that promo came on. I'm lucky enough to work from home. I can have WWE on while I'm working. The promo came on and I sat there and ignored all work and was just like riveted to my TV.
Fully captivated in the whole thing. And look, I totally get it too.
And it's genius. It's literal genius, this. It's how do you address the issues? How do you get over a character that people are going to be like constantly comparing to Bray? Like everything that he does is going to be constantly compared to Bray. But how do you do all of that in a promo and have me convinced that what is coming is going to be amazing? And they did that, man. Like I am so ready.
I am too. Like, and look, they went completely the opposite to how I could have predicted, because what we predicted was they're going to come out and do the same thing again, or they're going to come out and do something worse, maybe, but they're going to be featured heavily on the show. They weren't. They did a little spot during Chad Gable's match with some flickering in the Titantron, and then they did the bit with the box, and it led to this amazing little piece of cinema. Like, honestly.
Oh, and there's something that not a lot of people noticed live on TV. It was a tweet that pointed it out that I saw it. The room they were in during that is actually the funhouse.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. I didn't pick that up.
It's just super, it's super dark. Like you have to almost like crank up the light box settings to sort of really see it, but they're in the funhouse.
Five Nights at Freddy's like investigation to try to figure out what's going on. I love that because it tells a story. You know, I'm sure they were on a green screen. I'm sure it weren't actually there, but that's compelling as all hell too. And like, you know, the promo ends with him saying that, you know, people wanted to forget about him. I don't think he was talking about Bo Dallas. You know, like people wanted to forget about me. I don't think he's speaking as Bo Dallas. I don't. I think that we're looking at almost a vessel, you know, like in this whole thing. And I think that we're working with, like, I don't think, because like the way that he spoke is like, how do you feel, you know, since the loss, you know? And he said it was the most painful thing he'd ever been through. You know, like the most painful experience he'd ever been through. I don't think that we're working with some possession where Bray really is in Bo, but I think that what they do from here, maybe in this transformation to become Uncle Howdy, because he said at the very end of the promo, the thing that stuck me, and we know Triple H now, not a single word should you discount. He said,
Yeah, everything means
he
something.
Said, we showed them. And he said, and then Uncle Howdy said, yes, we did. Like, to me, that's not Bo Dallas talking to Uncle Howdy. Bo Dallas is Uncle Howdy. You know, like there's fragmented parts in his mind, you know, but it's still the same person. I think that you could use this as a way to get around Bray Wyatt being the sixth member of the Wyatt Six if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I also just think that it's really interesting because, like, the way that he moved, his mannerisms, everything about it is, it's like he's done nothing but study his brother this whole time. Like,
yeah,
even to the way that his face shape has changed. Like,
yeah,
there's something about it that just, I'm so interested to see what the motivation is going to be. Because right now, the motivation is they forgot about me. And if I take that literally, then that's like they forgot about Bo Dallas. And I don't care about that.
I tell you what, Substitute Betson has a really good theory. He reckons each of those characters are going to portray the 5 stages of grief.
Yes, I remember him saying that. I think that's an awesome idea. I think that's a really, really cool idea.
And so I'm not convinced on your idea of it sort of being a vessel for Bray and stuff like that. I'm personally not convinced on that. I think what we saw today was proof that this is going to be rooted a lot more in reality. Yes. But I think there is going to be deeper storytelling. And I think that concept of the 5 stages of grief is amazing. I don't know if they're going to go down that, but I think it being deeply rooted in reality and leaning into that loss that Taylor felt. And I'm not talking Bo, I'm talking Taylor.
Because I just don't like the concept of it being just people forgot about Taylor Rotunda. I don't like that.
No, and I don't think it is going to be just that. I think it's going to be elements of that. I think it's going to be people forgot about Taylor, people completely ignored Eric Rowan after he'd left, all that sort of thing. There's all those different elements. But I think there's a deeper storytelling there, which I think Taylor and Uncle Howdy are going to almost be a conduit for us as viewers to help us get through the
like
loss.
that too. I just don't think that it's just Taylor. I guess that's what I'm kind of getting at here. Is I don't think that it's just about Bo Dallas or just about Taylor Rotunda or even the other members of the Wyatt Six being forgotten. I think that like when I say conduit, I don't necessarily just mean Bray. I mean like there's this whole. He said it as well. The other thing he said is that we had it. We were there. All I ever wanted to do was wrestle with my brother, was team with my brother, and we had it, and it was taken away. Now, I think he's talking about that for all of us because it was taken away from us too. So,
yes, it was.
I think that's a really good addition. I like that as a point too. When I say conduit, I don't necessarily mean I think that Bray's like a spirit attached to Taylor. I think it's the thought of it.
I think that would be distasteful in my opinion.
No, I do too. I think that the distaste for me probably extended to this promo a little bit too, because they mentioned it a lot, but I think they had to for this one.
Look, I think I like the fact that they're sort of leaning in and making it a wee bit uncomfortable, because if we are going down that thing of grief and all that sort of thing and pain, all that, you need to make it a wee bit uncomfortable. It can't be all fake.
I think it was it you who said it last week, or was it a conversation with Benson that was about the hand being the Bray hand is the heel hand. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all he's got.
The hurt hand.
He doesn't. The other thing, while we're talking costumes, there's something I noticed after the show. Every single member of the Wyatt Six has that red circle somewhere hidden.
I did see that. It's on the hammer.
It's on the top of Uncle Howdy's hat. It's hidden in all of their costumes, which I think is amazing.
I like that a lot too. And,
super subtle.
But also really, really cool. I like it. I like the circle. I really, really like the logo. I wasn't convinced on the Wyatt Six as a concept because to me, and this is something that I think I find interesting. I was thinking about this on the way to work today. Was this feels like the only part of this that's WWEified. This feels like the only part of it is the name. It feels like a writer has written that. They're like, instead of calling it the Wyatt 6 like Bray had, let's call it the Wyatt 6. You know, like
yeah, I agree.
It's a little bit distasteful, a little bit distasteful, but
yeah,
you know, we'll see how it goes. It could change in time.
Oh, it's going to probably be one of those things where in a year's time we've forgotten about it and we don't care, and it's just growing on us. But yeah, amazing promo. This entire angle is great. And what I will say is, normally when we get a re-debut or a debut, the merch that drops straight away is absolute meh.
No, yeah.
But have you seen the Wyatt 6 merch?
It's so cool. Like, it's because it's not just the logo, you know, it's so cool and so unique. But you know what we should do? Because I know that not all of you have seen it yet. I know that. I know you've been slacking. You're not going to WWE shop. You're not going to WWE shop and using that link in the description at all. I know that. I can see you. So what you should do is today, you should go to the link in the description. You should go to the link in the description below. Have a look at that Let Us In shirt, because that Let Us In shirt is beautiful. As someone who just did a bunch of like cheesy ass Wyatt 6 merchandise, I have to say it's cool, and I got to figure out a way to also co-opt that too. So.
Well, as somebody that I've gone out there and said, I love a plain black shirt with big oversized print that's a basic design. I don't want super colored, bright crap. I just like nice basic designs on my merch. And this new Wyatt 6 shirt available at www.shop.com via the link in our description is an amazing shirt.
That's www.shop.com?
I can't
link in the description?
www.shop.com, and there is a link in our description. And look, click that link. You can get some cool merch, and you're supporting the boys.
Let us in.
You can let us in, and you can help pay for the podcast to be developed.
Because I need new lights. I have been stuffing around with this the whole time. You guys have probably seen that. Video listeners, you've seen that. Audio listeners, love you to death, but you haven't seen that. And that's probably for the best. You've probably just heard me sniffling because my nose, no good. I've tried to stop it. I apologize if that's come through.
Absolutely. What I will say before we finish up for the week, make sure you go check out the Downunder The Ring merch. The link is in the description. If you buy something, tweet it. Let us know. We really want to see people wearing this stuff and showing us. I'm going to be going and grabbing a couple of items myself because, Shippy, you've outdone yourself with those designs.
Oh, you're going to snapback is coming. I'm going to do a snapback as well. I know you like a good hat, so...
Oh, yeah. You know I love a good snapback. And yeah, that's all I have to say this
It's
week.
been a good episode. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. No matter who you are, what you do, you're very, very special. Oh, mate, I'm getting worse at these. I swear to God. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, we'll see you down under the ring, and hopefully Nikki Cross isn't there too. Bye-bye.